Hi, welcome to this Business Leader Breakthroughs Minisode, where we highlight the best bits of a previous show episode. If you enjoy these quick insights and want to check out the full episode, you'll find the link in the show notes. Or go to thebreakthrough.co. Now let the breakthroughs begin. Hi there, welcome along to the podcast today. Mike, what are you focused on in today's podcast?
What's involved in shifting this business from the kind of endless startup to a growth business that's achieving 20% revenue growth profitably, consistently every single year. 20% every single year. So that's a growth company.
Could you give us some insight there?
Typical of business owners everywhere really. Profits are unreliable. They're almost accidental. People they don't feel like they've got control over them. There's too much drama going on in the business. It's what you might call a hot mess. So people are always in firefighting mode. They're chasing their tails. They're what we've often called the whirlwind, where you're consumed with what's happening right here, right now. Every day seems to be a new set of problems, or the same problem over and over and over again. And it's the same with profitability. We kind of have a great year and then a down year, and then an okay year and then a down year. And we don't have that kind of consistency of performance. And a lot of business owners know that it's actually about where things go wrong is that people don't follow the process. And that's because they don't have a culture of process management. So they're the challenges that people have. I've got these systems. I think I've got these systems. At least I would have these systems if I had enough time, if I wasn't so busy fighting fires and chasing my tail, which is quite difficult to do at the same time. I would have these systems, or they don't have a product that lends itself to that. But they're not machines.
So I think in the old world, we think about almost we're romanticized about the idea of this we're entrepreneurs and everything's changing every day and it's all brand new, and it's actually a load of bollocks. In my view, it kind of sounds cool, but in terms of delivering a consistent business, not very good. So we keep talking about how agile we are and how we jump from
growth is chaotic. And
we're always zigging and zagging across all these different things that are going on. And whilst it sounds romantic, the reality is not so much.
And the outcomes are not romantic either. And the outcomes are huge amounts of adrenaline, which we get addicted to and go charging around, kind of, reinventing wheels, putting out fires, just noise and drama, the hot mess, right? The hot mess. And the new world, the different way of thinking about that is it's the startups that are chaotic. If you're in chaos, you're a startup. Growth companies are boring. Boring in the sense of they are predictable, they are consistent, they are effective, they are like a champion team.
Yes.
Champion team. Sometimes people say of a team like the All Blacks, they're winning so much, it's boring.
Tell you what, those fans are hard to please, because if they, on the odd occasion they lose, it's like a national disaster, and then they win too much and people are complaining that you're boring.
And the reason they win so often, that any champion team wins so often, is because they've worked out their method, what's their game plan, and they deliver on that game plan consistently, rigorously. They don't get distracted, they don't get knocked off. When teams like the All Blacks lose, it's because an opposition has been able to knock them off their game plan. So boring is in. Boring, predictable, managed, effective, efficient, that's in.
Yep. And not constantly every day having to do is this a good idea? Should we do this? Shouldn't we? What will we go? It's like actually knowing what you're going to do each day, each week, each month, and going out and executing it with perfection.
You need to go through that startup mode.
You do.
And that's the phase, isn't it? What does that phase look like?
Look, I think at the start, you're really trying to figure out what's going to work. So you do tend to explore a lot of ideas. You're really trying to figure out what's the right product or service, what's the right customer segments we should be doing this with, who should we be partnering with, who are our suppliers, what team do we need on board, because you often don't know that at the startup stage either. So you're really trying to figure out that piece. You're going, what's my marketing strategy? How do I connect with the people that I want to be selling to? So you've got a huge number of unknowns, and you're almost trying to go through and fill in the boxes of going, we could do it that way, we could do it that way, and kind of get it sorted.
We're looking for the method.
We are looking for the method. We get distracted in that startup zone because every dollar looks like a good dollar.
Yeah.
And we end up taking risks because we have to at that stage, because we haven't got a known bet yet. So we tend to be putting $1 here and $1 there, and that is part of the startup phase. But it's not how you grow a business.
No, and you can be in startup for a long time. In fact, I look at businesses and they've actually been in startup for 30 years. We've been in startup for a long time. But the key to getting to that next level is that what are the characteristics of a growth company, a company that's profitably growing 20% a year? It's systems, it's processes, it's policies, it's having standard operating procedures, it's being focused on efficiency. It's not entrepreneurial, it's about management. They're not zigging and zagging and chasing because they don't have any fires to put out anymore, because they have already worked out how to prevent fires from breaking out. They're just working on consistent, superior execution of core processes, just like a champion team. So I guess the trick in that stuff is you've got to do that startup stuff to find the product, to find the method. So when you find the method, you've got to lock in on it, you've got to really focus on that, simplify it, and then practice it boringly, consistently. You know, the great teams, they have a game plan, they know exactly, Steve Hansen talked about the All Blacks. He said, our job is to make things totally simple so that when the players are in the moment, they don't have to think about it. They know exactly what to do and how to do it. So focus, simplify, and practice.
Yeah, I think that's a great framework. Focus, what is going to work for us. Make it really simple so not only you as the leaders and the senior team can follow it, but someone in that team, and then even more importantly, someone joining the team has a really clear understanding of what's required to be done. You don't have this situation where someone departs and all the knowledge of how something's done walks out the door.
Even better, that knowledge is actually on a hard drive or in the cloud. Actually, it's automated. That's the ultimate in being able to kind of do the practice, is because it's automated. I think the other part of that is actually, and this is a little note to self, stop innovating. Just stick with what we've got for a while, refine it, perfect it, practice, rather than going on to the next thing.
And this is one of the challenges for business leaders. They're often pioneer type people. They like ideas, they do like shiny new things. The self-discipline of success for business owners is to go, let's create a method, let's create a process, let's make this repeatable, and with the result being boringly predictable profitability.
Which, wouldn't that be good?
Absolutely. So Mike, if we were to talk about what we should do and shouldn't do about this, I know some of the things we should do is we should divorce ourselves from the business.
Yeah, depersonalize it. It's kind of, this is not an extension of ourselves. This is actually an investment. Think about it as an investor, not as a parent.
Yeah, and I think weaning ourselves off the adrenaline. I've seen many business owners that like to swoop in with their superhero cape and
be important,
and the most common one is when they're fixing customer dissatisfaction, and they love to fly in and make it all better. God, build a process so you don't end up with dissatisfied customers in the first place. So much more powerful. And that concept of the grind, you've got to get it done.
You've got to grind the detail.
I think as much as the self-discipline, you've got to surround yourself with people that are good at the grind.
Well, I won't do it. No. I just won't do that last. I'll do it 80-20. I'll do the 20% that creates 80% of the value. And we're big fans of that. But there are some times and some processes that have to be done to 100%. You've got to have that level of detail, of operational efficiency, so that it actually operates the same way every single time. Scalable means it's teachable. So, teaching our partner coaches to implement the onboarding. It's repeatable because you know exactly what to do. That means that, and it's valuable. It actually creates value. That's what scale looks like.
I think the scale concept is the one that most helps me when I'm thinking about creating the method.
And I'll watch that.
Because when there's only 5 customers or 10 partners to be done, you know what, you can hand crank it every day. It's not particularly effective or efficient, but you can do it. When you start going, how would we deliver this to 1,000 customers? How would we interact with 10,000 partners? You go, I've got to make it scalable. I've got to have the system. I've got to have the process. I've got to have all those things to make it work.
Thinking about this business at scale, what does it look like when it is 100 times the size it is now, or even 10? And it is a discipline. It's a focus. Get it simple, and then practice, practice, practice. It's building the machine, and it's fun. It's fantastic.
It sure is. Thanks for joining us today. Great to have your company, and we look forward to catching up with you on the next one. Thanks.
Catch you later.